Very, very good morning, everyone. Charles here, Frgnt Daily Chart Analysis, Wednesday, the 3rd of June, 2026. And we are approaching 8 a.m. local time here in Milan. So, finally cleared my charts from yesterday. Just having a look to see what's available today. So, the DXY, of course, still trending within that daily range, approaching the highs. So, there's one outlook. Are we looking to push higher towards the highs of those range? Towards the highs of the range, I should say, potential manipulation of those session highs, which would be quite normal to view. Price look to break out, much like we had down here on the 4-hour time frame, solely then just to break back in, potentially give us a little entry criteria on the DXY for us to look for DXY short. That's a potential way of looking at DXY at the moment. Alternatively, if we can get some confirmation at where we are at the moment, I see potentially there could be a trade on US dollar CAD short at, maybe to present itself, but the US dollar CAD short hasn't really given any clear signs just yet, so it's nothing that I'll be looking to take in the immediacy. Simply sitting on my hands at the moment, probably best I place some alerts here on the chart to see whether or not price is going to respect that session high, or whether or not price is going to just go straight through it into the 4-hour order block, potentially break and close above that 4-hour order block, refer back to the daily range, and as I've said, take out the highs and make its way back to the lows, or alternatively, in line with the higher time frame DXY, bullishness could well push deeper into that weekly top right hand chart, that weekly order block. There is a refined area within that weekly order block up at these highs, which is the daily order block, and that's that daily order block as a result of causing that low in the market. So of course, if price wants to gravitate back towards the area that caused the low, then absolutely I'll be seeking a reaction from there once I can refine that area down. So there certainly are many trails of thought at the moment. That's why if we head to US dollar CAD, we can see also similarly US dollar CAD isn't or hasn't quite yet. In fact, it's tapped into the weekly order block, but we don't trade from weekly order blocks. Therefore, if price is looking to just tap into the weekly order block, I'm going to need to see some price development first and foremost coming out of that, because as I've said, I cannot trade from a weekly order block. It's far too large. So once I then start to refine that weekly order block down, you see just here towards the equilibrium of that weekly order block, we have that daily order block refined, and as you can see, price is still a distance away from that daily order block. Therefore, my refinement within that area is even further of a distance away. So as I said, if price is looking to be ready now on US dollar CAD, I'm going to need to see quite a lot. I could be aggressive based on that 15-minute time frame. We have a 4-hour order block in the market confirmed as a result of that bearish move that, as I've circled, a potential clue breaking structure points first, or secondly breaking that 4-hour 50 EMA for the first time as well. And of course, naturally, as price develops, we're seeing that low potentially in the market. Price is coming back up for that lower high before a lower low continuation. Will I see that lower low continuation? I don't believe so based on intraday perspective, but certainly based on the weekly time frame. As we can see, price recently, top right hand chart, most recent weekly candle closed below that weekly 50 MA. So we do have a confluence there for price to want to gravitate at least towards that weekly 50 MA. However, in the immediacy, the first hurdle that price must overcome is that 4-hour 50 MA, as price is seemingly respecting it at the moment. So I do believe there is a potential short to maybe come out of the market on US dollar CAD, but much like my position yesterday on Euro US dollar, it's just not enough for price to be in an area. Price must do something first and foremost. So what I've seen initially is prices are making the wrong tool. Price is indeed making those highs in the markets those higher lows followed by potential higher high. Well, if we say potential higher low here for that higher low, and then price, are we going to then make the higher high? That's what I'm expecting in the market. So the best way, or the best method, I would say, to look to take this position, highlight a structure point in the market. That's the first thing you're looking to do. Would I be comfortable buying here? Probably not, but would I be comfortable to see that area broken first and foremost, where price is respecting and price has created that push in the market, only then to return back up, hopefully, to an order block created as a result of that break. Look for my entry criteria, then take that short down to the 4 hour 50 MA. So that's one method. I was a little bit more aggressive on EU yesterday, trying to go down to the lower time frames to see if I can locate some structural points in the market. Here, first and foremost, is an area that I see. I would like that to be broken first of all before I look to get involved, or even my appetite slightly wet before taking that position, or even Asia lows to be taken out, which I would lose a confluence based on Asia. But for me, that is a very high probable entry criteria in terms of snap retest model, when I can see, if I get rid of that and put this to illustration, a break of Asia, come back to a point of interest, entry criteria short, and I can my immediate targets. Thanks for the message, whoever that was. Immediate target, that 4 hour 50 EMA. So US dollar CAD, there are all the potentials there. Is it ready now? Personally, for me, absolutely not. We'll just have to see how the cookie crumbles in line with that. For now, moving into London Open. So what else do we have in the market today? UJ. So recognizing that we do potentially have some upside on the DXY, but also recognizing that we are at session high and the DXY has a potential to move short from this area. Is there anything short potentially on UJ, or are we getting any signs on UJ that UJ could continue further towards the upside, which would mean that the DXY would also follow suit, or rather the DXY would move and the US dollar JPY would follow suit, to be completely accurate. Now, as I look at UJ, first thing I'm looking to do is isolate points in the market where price is failing to break above or below. Structure point for me, so before I'd even be tempted to take a reversal type of position on UJ without price actually coming into the best point of interest on that 4 hour time frame, you can see that's exactly where I want to be shorting from. Daily order block, there was that beautiful bearish engulfing candle left up with that daily order block, refine the area down, 4 hour order block right up at those highs. As I always say, if you're going to look to short from as high as you possibly can within your refined area. That's pretty much doing the business. When we look at the 15-minute time frame, refine it down even more into the 15-minute time frame, you can see we're up at those highs. So in an ideal scenario, I'll be waiting to see if price would like to gravitate towards that area before looking for the short position down. However, being in flow with the market and understand the market doesn't necessarily have to respect my illustrations. All I'm doing is putting my thought process on price action. Price action cares not about my pretty Gambox colors or the way I view the market. So if price action wants to seek and move sooner rather than later, it's down to me to understand, does that suit my strategy? So as I say, area in the market, price failing to break above and below, can I identify trend on that 15-minute time frame? In my opinion, I can identify trend, but can I see in terms of higher highs and higher lows? I'd say that would be forcing it. Therefore, if that's even forcing it, the better play would be for me to wait for this area to be broken to those lows, pull back for that short position. So we've got an aggressive type of structure here. We must put that in the market first and foremost. We'll seek to clone that. And here is another structure point in the market that I'd be, as I've said, even that's forcing it, to be honest, in terms of a aggressive type of position. But this is certainly more aggressive. So what I'll be seeking to understand on UJ, can we first and foremost get those breaks of structures, return to those highs, point of interest. Hopefully there's a 15-minute order block left up at those highs for us to look to manipulate based on lower time frame break of structure when price gets there. And then there's a good potential for a short. Have that in mind, that the DXY will have to do something similar. We've got those structure points on the DXY. If I look to clone, not that. Okay, let's just draw it. Where are we here? Here's a structure point in the market, much like on UJ, US dollar CAD. Here we go, structure point. Again, slightly aggressive, but there it's our confluence type of position first and foremost. Can DXY break, pull back into an area of interest, and then return? Can I seek that the DXY would potentially do that? Well, yeah, of course. Yesterday, Euro US dollar, I was looking at that short, and I had this order block here in the market. Here I was interested in shorting Euro US dollar. I waited for the confirmation on the DXY to push up, break structure points on the lower time frame, return back to the order block before the move. So I'm looking for exactly the same here, but in the inverse direction. It's nothing new. Continue to apply my strategy over and over and over again, pretty much until I get bored. So that's a DXY using that confluence with UJ, using that confluence with US dollar CAD as well, and then GU, let's see. So if I'm looking at potential short positions to materialize on UJ, then what does that mean? Well, not necessarily UJ, but the DXY. What does that mean? Well, that means for me that I must understand that GU has the potential to pull back. If GU pulls back, that's inciting and telling me that the DXY is now proving itself to be slightly weaker. Where in the market can I understand that GU could potentially pull back from? Well, first and foremost, most recent candles closed above that 4-hour 50 MA. Where are we now? 4-hour 50 MA. We've got 2 hours 52 minutes remaining for price to reject that 4-hour 50 MA to the upside. So even if price starts to develop like so, my thought process is that price is going to look to reject it for the 4-hour time frame and leave us with a candle that looks something like this. So this is the 4-hour candle that I'm printing, and as that 4-hour 50 MA or 4-hour candle starts to get closer to closing, I'm expecting a candle to push like so and simply leave us with a beautiful wick to the low where price was trending on the lower time frame. So that's kind of aligning as well. It's making sense, and as I say, does it make sense? Make it make sense. With that said, we're in a little bit of a range. I can start to identify here on that 4-hour time frame as well. So does that make sense once I superimpose that on the lower time frames and intervals to understand, well, are we really in a range? Maybe not. We've definitely got that wick to the low that conforms to the range as well. So at the minute, there's a couple of trails of thought. Well, can I understand if price is going to look to go bullish from here? There are a couple of confluences to support that, which then, of course, supports potentially my US dollar CAD thought process for a short, UJ thought process for a short, but most importantly, DXY thought process to move to the downside. So it's starting to align. Does it mean I'm going to look to take long positions on GU? Absolutely not. It's not something that I'm interested in. However, what I would be interested in to see if we could get this lower time frame break or structure, even better if we could start to break this structure low, then price pull back, then absolutely I'll be looking to take a nice looking short position based on a beautiful looking setup first and foremost, and then we'll be seeking the entry criteria once price returns to those highs. So that's a good thought process there. Let me seek and put some alerts down at the lows waiting for a break of structure, and let's put an alert when price returns back up to those highs where there is a nice 15-minute order block already there available unmitigated. So that's GU for the time being. Euro US dollar, I think price is still developing beautifully. I'm happy to take that as a short position as and when price gets back. Have I updated that? No, I have not. Is there any 15-minute order blocks available? So that was the short position yesterday. So what I'll do, let me make that around 200. Let's call it 230. Great. And then as a result of today's move, have we had any more breaks of structures? Not yet. So the thought process is, of course, we have made this low in the market. After a low, we are seeking to make that lower high. Potentially it was here for my position before that lower low continuation. If we get a lower low break of structure, looking for price to return back to a point of interest before looking to short it in line with the 4-hour 50 MA as well. It's looking great. In the opposite direction, just recognize we have this 4-hour order block that isn't on the 15-minute time frame just yet. There we have it. So GU's in a range. EU, what are we doing? Well, I'd be interested to see what price is going to do if it reaches this low. So I got an alert there. If price doesn't want to return, then I'll wait to seek some confirmation down at these lows for a potential long position. Would that make sense based on what the thought process is? Absolutely. If I'm looking to long Euro US dollar, I need weakness to come out of the DXY. Am I expecting that? Yes. So therefore, it's all starting to align. This is what I mean about using your technical analysis to build your picture, build your synopsis, and get into trading. So that's Euro US dollar both ways at the moment. Of course, up at these highs, the best short position in my opinion. Down at these lows, of course, I'm going to need to seek some confirmation before looking to take that position. But what I do like, once I've zoomed out, I can see the move in the market. I can see a high was created, price is coming back. Can I seek confirmation before looking to take that long back towards the 4-hour 50 MA, where I do foresee we'll be getting a rejection and then potentially a continuation to the downside down towards that weekly 50 EMA as we start to roll closer to week ending. Let's have a look what else we got potentially in the market. Can I speed up? GCAD, I was interested in GCAD yesterday. Still think it's in a nice valid point of interest. Let's have a look to see what we have. Let's get rid of this. Did we close above that 4-hour order block? Do I need to get rid of it? No, we did not, so I'll keep the 4-hour order block on there just for a bit of guidance. Again, back to structure points. We're failing to break some structural areas. What I'll do, let me move that slightly higher for an aggressive looking approach. I'll clone that and move it slightly lower for the better looking type of approach. And of course these lows as well, which most definitely caused that most recent high in the market. So after the high, we are seeking that higher low. So any short position could just be price making that higher low before the high, and that's what we'll be looking at immediate shorts. First and foremost, as the day starts to develop, I want to see structural breaks. Points of interest, short down to where are we respecting at the moment? 4-hour 50 MA. So GCAD at the moment, will I really have enough range to take a short? Remains to be seen. So we'll simply have to wait and have a look. What I'd be more interested in and what I'd love to see better is actually GCAD roll further towards these highs, and I'll be looking to take an aggressive break of structure and take that short to the 4-hour 50 MA. You can see the range dramatically increased as opposed to take a position from here, giving you, let's call it a 1 to 2 perhaps. Up at these highs, you're definitely more in line with getting a 1 to 3, 1 to 4 from those highs. So definitely the range up at these highs is a lot better. That's GCAD for me at the moment. GJ, to be honest, highs and lows only. Take a long from these areas and up at these highs. I'll wait for confirmation for the short in terms of reversal. Have we tapped into that daily order block just yet? Yes, we have. We're getting a reaction. But do I trade from daily order blocks? No, I don't. So I really do want to see price roll higher, at least at a 4-hour. Then I'll wait for the entry criteria, short that back down. We'll have to see. AUDUSD, perfect. Wanted to take this pretty much all month, to be honest. It's just not providing me the entry criteria. There was an opportunity perhaps yesterday, took EU instead. What we're seeing now is price developing, so it's not in terms of FOMO. Price is moving without me. Absolutely, yes, it is. But what is it doing? It's creating me more of a reason to want to get involved when price returns. So area in the market, price failing to break below. Let's see if we break that, pull back up into that area of interest that's very much so available, ready to wait for lower time frame break of structure, short that back towards a point of interest. And what can we say? Currently price closed above that 4-hour 50 MA, so I am expecting a bit of a rejection from that 4-hour 50 MA. How price will seek to develop on that on AU is hopefully we get first and foremost a break below the 4-hour 50 MA. I'll be even happier to see the daily time frame candle, the daily candle break and close below that daily 50 MA. If I bring your attention to the bottom right hand chart, then what we'll look to have is more confirmation. We love confirmation. What we'll have, we've got this bullish structure here that made the high, price break to the lows, pull back, look for that rollover to the downside. And yeah, I think that is a half decent breakdown for the day. So lots to wait for, lots of price action to develop, and we'll just see how the cookie crumbles as we roll throughout the days. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. To those of you that have messaged me, I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Time for me to get on with my day and see what's in store. All the very best, team. Take care. Speak to you soon. Charles.